Are you working hard or hardly working? Hi, and welcome to the Law Simplified, the world's largest independent online law school platform. I'm your instructor, Shavin Bandaranaike. Many of us, either academically or professionally, will encounter a proverbial wall at some point in time. Oftentimes on this very YouTube channel, I've connected this or I've contrasted this with what a runner perhaps would encounter in a distance race, known as the wall itself. There are certain points in time where your fatigue, your tiredness, either in terms of your physical ability or your mental strain that you're going through, may prevent you from pushing through to the distance that you want to achieve, to the destination that you want to get to. In terms of our academics and career, the circumstances are no different. You will feel haggard, you'll feel fatigued, you'll feel tired, you'll feel like giving up as well. Oftentimes you might even come to a point where you're not really sure A, what you're doing, or B, whether you're on the right path. This might either be triggered by a decision or a result that's not ideal. If you are a student, this would mean that you're not getting the results or achieving the grades that you want, or the fact that you keep constantly failing and it comes to a point where either the university or the institution have given you a deadline to specify that enough is enough and you need to rethink the options that are available to you. In terms of a career, you might have been progressing well up to a certain point, but now you feel stagnant, either because the work is no longer stimulating or exciting, or that you don't see career progression in where you are, others are being promoted over you, or you see your colleagues and friends achieving greater heights than you. It's normal as any individual to feel frustrated in these situations and not being able to see the light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. If you like the type of content that I make on this YouTube channel, do subscribe to the Law Simplified and leave a comment below so that I have an idea of what other types of content would be helpful to you in terms of your academic and professional career prospects in law. For those of you who are preparing for your LLB, LLM, or even PhD students, I'd highly recommend the comprehensive online law school platform, complete with theory, tutorial, and workshop lessons that I've conducted for students who've gone on to achieve first-class law degrees globally. At the beginning of this video, I asked you a question. Are you working hard or hardly working? I'm sure you've heard of this in different fora over time. But what I actually want to impress upon you is the fact that A, when it comes to your academics or even your professional career prospects in law, there is going to be circumstances in which you're going to have to stop and evaluate whether the path you're taking is the appropriate one. Sometimes it might simply be due to limitations that you personally have in terms of how you're going about your preparation and your assessments. The truth of the matter is, some students are good at being assessed in one way, whereas others are not. So you need to be truthful to yourself, understand what you're good at, and then try and formulate a trajectory and a strategy that accommodates that. On some occasions, I have often told students who are not performing well in a particular university, an institution, or a program to look into a different program altogether. Not merely because perhaps the structure of the program is non-cohesive or conducive to what that student is optimally geared towards, but because the assessment process may not be ideal for that person. Not everyone is geared towards studying across a semester and then sitting for a 3-hour paper. I have often argued actually that the assessment process in which you study for a semester and sit for an unseen paper is non-reflective of the legal profession altogether. But that's a topic for another day entirely. Sometimes what you might really be good at is research, formulating structures and arguments, and having been given sufficient amount of time to present an assignment or a summative, which you can score heavily in as well, because you've put the time and effort into it. From a professional context, it might simply be that the type of work that you're presented with is not something that A, you're comfortable with, or B, you can't perform at the level that's anticipated in that establishment. That does not mean that you lack competence. It just means that your competence has not been applied appropriately. Remember, it's not about what you know or don't know, or what you're good or not good at. It's about finding the right place and the right opportunity that matches your unique skill set. Right. The reason why I wanted to make this video is because for most students and professionals, we are coming towards a period in which either you are at the crescendo of your academics, you've come to a point where you have now plateaued in terms of your abilities and you're frustrated at what next to do. Education, for the most part, for most people, is a comfort zone because it's a structured mechanism of doing something. And when that comes to a phase where it's coming to an end, you find it difficult to figure out what next to do. Similarly, from a professional context, there are often times when students or professionals have approached me trying to figure out what other options they might have. Those who are outside of the legal profession contemplating entering into it, and those who are already in the legal profession figuring out how to pivot. If you are one of these individuals, someone who is facing a relatively uphill shift in terms of their academics or a stagnant patch in your professional career, drop a line, send me an email, and I'd be happy to have a chat. But until the next time that we meet, have fun, stay safe, and as always, obey the law.